When Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane, just before he's arrested and crucified, he prays the following prayer: "Father, if you are willing, let this cup pass from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." Some people interpret this prayer as implying that Jesus must have a separate will from the Father, and therefore cannot be one God with him. After all, if the Father and the Son have different wills, then they cannot share the same essence, and therefore they must be separate. Indeed, when the Bible is taken out of the context of the church, and this verse is taken out of the context of the Bible, and read according to the typical modern mindset, it certainly proves the point. However, Christians, since the time of Christ, have insisted that the Son and the Father do have the same essence and the same will. In the rest of the Bible, Jesus emphasizes again and again his unity with the Father. So how is this verse interpreted? Well, in order to answer this question, we go to the church and stand on the shoulders of giants. And here is what they have to say. In commenting on this verse, Origen writes, "Jesus wills, that is, not according to his divine and impassible substance, but according to his human and weak nature. For in taking upon him the nature of human flesh, he fulfilled all the properties thereof, that it might be seen that he had flesh, not in appearance only, but in reality." Augustine writes, "For this was his human will, choosing something as apart for himself. But because as man he would be righteous and guide himself by God's will, he adds, nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. As much as to say to us, man, behold thyself in me. What thou canst will apart of thyself, and though God's will is other, this is permitted in human frailty." Ambrose writes, "His will," he refers to the man, "the Father's to the Godhead. For the will of man is temporal, and the will of the Godhead eternal." The Venerable Bede says that when he drew near his passion, the Savior also took upon him the words of weak man. Thomas Aquinas, "It is manifest that the Son of God assumed a perfect human nature. Now the will pertains to the perfection of human nature, being one of its natural powers, even as the intellect. Hence we must say that the Son of God assumed a human will together with human nature. Now by the assumption of human nature, the Son of God suffered no diminution of what pertains to his divine nature, to which it belongs to have a will. Hence it must be said that there are two wills in Christ. It is one human, the other divine." And currently Pope Benedict XVI. Jesus uttered both prayers, but the first one, asking for deliverance, merges into the second one, asking for God to be glorified by the fulfillment of his will. And so the conflicting elements blend into unity deep within the heart of Jesus' human existence. The natural will of the human nature is present, but there is only one personal will which draws the natural will into itself. And this is possible without annihilating the specifically human element, because the human will, as created by God, is ordered to the divine will. The drama of the Mount of Olives lies in the fact that Jesus draws man's natural will away from opposition and back toward synergy. In Jesus' natural human will, the sum total of human nature's resistance to God is, as it were, present within Jesus himself. Indeed, the Son's whole being is expressed in the not I, but you, in the total self-abandonment of the I to the you of God the Father. Here it is in summary. Jesus, since he is both fully human and fully divine, has two wills, one human and one divine. When Jesus refers to my will in the prayer, he is referring to the human will, which is shying away from the foreseen pain of the crucifixion. However, in the end, he unites his human will, or his natural will, as Pope Benedict called it, to the divine will, what he calls here the will of the Father. So this verse poses no difficulty for traditional Christianity. Now, I won't pretend that this is easy to understand. How a divine person can assume a fully human nature is well beyond human understanding. This is truly a mystery, but there is no contradiction. It is true that we cannot make sense out of it, but it is not true that it is irrational. Much of quantum mechanics is the same way. All the data suggests certain truths. We cannot understand them, but we do have mathematics to describe it. The data of Jesus suggests two complete natures. We cannot understand it, but we do have technical, philosophical, and theological vocabulary to describe it.